episode, I want to talk to you about the Disney narcissistic parent. I see this so many times, and obviously many in my community and on a one-to-one are trying to parent with a narcissist. Now, I've done other episodes that I'd really encourage you to go and watch and listen to around a child's trauma response to a narcissistic parent. Because I think as parents, when we realize we can't co-parent with a narcissist, you can only parallel parent. And that means disengaging, minimal contact, and just, again, being very child-centric in all of that, that when we start to look at the parenting, there's lots of things that can come up for you as an individual. And I want to talk to you, and I've just been on holiday actually, and as I was lying there, this really came up for me because I was getting quite a few messages from other people whose children were with the narcissistic parent, and they were being bought stuff, they were being taken on these lavish holidays, they were just literally having loads thrown at them, where the other parent was struggling, didn't have much money, and there was a lot of stuff coming up, feeling like I'm doing all the work, I'm getting all the brunt of all of this. When the kids come back, they're shouting, they're aggressive, they are anxious before they go. I get all of this. Then when they go to the narcissistic parent, it's like Disney. They're well behaved, they get X, Y, Z. The narcissistic parent just throws everything at them in an attempt to try and get the children to favoritize that particular parent. So this is why I wanted to do this episode on the Disney narcissistic parent, because that's what I tend to call them. A narcissistic parent who really looks at stuff to try and gain love and affection from the child. And you as the other parent can feel really frustrated at this, because you feel like you can't give your child maybe what the other parent is giving them. And I wanted to do this episode really to reassure you and really to talk to you a little bit about what you can do, what is going on, and moving forward so that you can parent really in your own power here without thinking about the narcissistic parent. So remember, if you are parenting your children with a narcissist, your children will probably likely behave in very different ways with you and very different ways with the narcissistic parent. Now, the issue with this is very often they will be with you and their behavior will be a lot more, like I've said, they might be much more anxious, they could be angry, they could be aggressive. Again, this is very age dependent on what they are. Before they go to the narcissistic parent, they might feel really anxious, they might lash out, they might shout more. And you as the parent, knowing that they're going to the narcissist, can feel really triggered by that and really activated, feeling like I'm a bad mum or a bad dad because my children are having to go and spend time with this person that I know is psychologically abusive. And that can bring up a lot of worthiness for you, those self-worthiness wounds of I'm not a good enough mother or father. And I want to reassure you on all of this, because you're doing an amazing job in very challenging circumstances. And the reason why your child behaves like this, more aggressive, more assertive, more angry, more anxious with you, is actually because they feel safer with you. So I use a ladder of tolerance when I teach about how our nervous system reacts to things. And that ladder of tolerance, the top of the ladder is where you will feel safe and connected. And that is what we call ventral vagal in our nervous system. The middle of the ladder is our sympathetic nervous system, which is our fight and flight, where we would feel angry and anxious. And the bottom of the ladder is what we call our dorsal vagal. So it's all part of our vagus nerve, which runs down the back of our neck. And that is when we are in freeze. So I call this the ladder of tolerance. It's how our nervous system reacts. And it really tells the story of our lived experiences, but that comes from interpretation of past experiences. And it's like our brain is, you know, running a filing system. Our amygdala is on alert and it's like, oh, danger, danger, danger. And we go into fight, flight, anxious anger, or freeze, dissociative, numb, can almost look submissive at that stage as well. And we go up and down that ladder. We don't miss any of them out. We literally go up and down the ladder. It can look like it misses out, but it literally passes through. So when they are with you, they could well be either safe and connected, top of the ladder, or they could be in sympathetic, so angry or anxious. They have more energy mobilized, but that is still their system feeling safer than if they were at the bottom of the ladder in freeze, numbing out, dissociative, which is very often what they are like then when they are with the narcissistic parent, because their perception of the narcissistic parent is danger. They go into survival mode, but from an external lens looking in, it can almost look like the child is very well behaved, the child is okay being there. But if we're looking at this through a trauma-informed lens, it's actually because they're dissociative, they've numbed out, they are literally doing everything that the narcissist says, because the alternative is what would happen. So there, again, their system is doing a really great job of protecting them in the circumstances. But equally then, the narcissist, the Disney narcissist parent, can add in an extra layer with all of this too. And that can be when the child goes, the narcissist will know deep down that the children may not want to be there, or that you are the better parent because your relationship with them is far more connected and loving. So that is a massive trigger to a narcissist's self-worthiness wounds. Because remember, narcissists are created in childhood. They have those self-worthiness wounds of feeling worthless, and everything is about their system not feeling that. So that the intention of a narcissist system is to completely distract and move away from ever feeling worthless. And if your children get on better with you and are more connected with you, that is highly triggering to a narcissist. They need to win. They need to be better. So how do they do that? Well, very often they will throw stuff at the children. They might buy them the latest mobile phones, computer games, whatever that is. These holidays, they will absolutely, you may find with you, let's say the kids are with you one weekend and you're scrabbling around for money to try and do something, or you haven't got any money to do anything, because very often if partners are paying child maintenance, certainly here in the UK, very often the narcissist parent will see child maintenance as, I'm giving money to the mother or the father, and they don't see actually it's child maintenance, it's money for the children. But a narcissist doesn't see that. They will obviously, and this is a whole other episode, isn't it? They will see that as giving money to the parent, and they will want to minimize all of that. So very often you can end up being really struggling with no money. They are minimizing any child maintenance that they are giving you. Yet when the kids go to stay with the narcissistic parent, new phones, latest designer stuff. And don't get me wrong, kids like that, don't they? You know, if you've got a teenager and they're going to a narcissistic parent and they're being given like the latest phones and designer clothes and, you know, great holidays or days out that are really, really expensive, teenagers can quite like that too. And that can be really triggering for you as the non-narcissistic parent, because it almost looks like they want to go, they want to have that. But actually that's a teenager very often just being, I'm going to get what I can out of it. So I want you to be really real that if you have a partner, an ex-partner who is acting like a Disney parent and lavishing all of that, and your child is happier, even a little bit with that happening, then you know what? That's a good thing, okay? That's a better thing than maybe them being even further down the ladder. But equally, stay in your lane. Just focus on, for you, being the best parent you can be, teaching values, teaching love, security, connection, installing in your children a healthy sense of self, so that when they go and stay with the narcissistic parent, they can be at the top of the ladder, still choosing to behave in certain ways to make it easier when they're with the narcissistic parent, as opposed to being at the bottom of the ladder in freeze. The behavior may still look the same, but one is by choice, recognizing it's a challenging situation, but still feeling safe. The other is perception of danger, which comes from past experiences, which is what you can help your child with as that parent, because you're going to have the children with you the majority of the time then too. So just because the other parent acts like a Disney parent doesn't make you any less of the wonderful parent you are. It doesn't mean your children will love you less because they get stuff off the other parent. Doesn't mean that at all. And if it does trigger you, if you do feel that activation in your body, then that's coming from your self-worthiness wound. And I'd really invite you then to get curious. Why do I feel like this if my children are with the narcissistic parent and they get stuff? What is that triggering in me? And very often, what we tend to find is it makes me feel not good enough. They can give my children more stuff, a better materialistic life. That means nothing. The best for your child is love, security, knowing that just for being themselves is good enough. That's what you need to focus on, not the Disney narcissistic parent. Because if they can only buy their love or potential love from their children, there's nothing in that in the long run. Their relationship is set up on stuff. You don't want a relationship like that. You want a relationship with your children that is based on deep connection, love, respect, values, security. And that's what you can do. So even if you can't give your children anything of monetary value, think about the things you can give them. Because let me tell you, that is priceless. There is no monetary value for that. And I know your children will value that in the long run for the rest of their life way more than a new phone or a new game or new clothes. So focus on that.